Good evening and welcome back to the Shadow Nook. This evening we are travelling down south in England. In the quiet Somerset village of Norton St Philip stands one of the most atmospheric pubs in England, the George Inn in Norton St Philip. With timber beams darkened by centuries of smoke, uneven stone floors, and rooms that seem frozen in time, the building feels less like a pub and more like a living piece of medieval history. Many historians believe it may be one of the oldest continuously operating inns in Britain. But with over 600 years of history, wars, rebellions, executions and passing travellers, the question many visitors ask is simple. Did some of those people ever truly leave? So let's look at the origins of the George Inn. The George Inn was built sometime during the 14th century, originally serving a very practical purpose. It was constructed by monks from the nearby Hinton Charterhouse Priory as a wool store and trading house. During the medieval period, the wool trade was one of England's most valuable industries. Merchants travelled long distances to attend the annual wool fairs held in the village. Imagine the village during one of those fairs, carts creaking through the muddy lanes, traders arriving from across the country, the air thick with the smell of wool, horses, smoke and ale. The George would have been filled with travellers, merchants negotiating prices, pilgrims heading towards religious shrines, and labourers sleeping on benches beside the fire. The inn became more than just a storage house. It became the social heart of the village. Over the centuries, timber-framed upper floors were added and the building expanded, creating the maze-like layout visitors see today. Some say that the twisting layout, corridors leading to hidden rooms and staircases helped give the inn its strange and sometimes unsettling atmosphere. By the 17th century, the George Inn had become an important coaching stop on the route between London and the southwest of England. Horses were changed here, travellers rested, and news from across the country passed through the inn's doors. One of the most famous visitors was Samuel Pepys, the famous diarist. On June the 12th, 1668, Pepys travelled through the village on his way to Bath. In his diary he recorded the journey, a small historical note that proves travellers were already stopping here more than 350 years ago. And if these walls could speak, they would likely tell countless stories of drunken arguments, secret meetings, and travellers who never expected their stop at the inn to become part of history. One of the most dramatic events to happen in the inn's history happened in 1685. This was known as the Monmouth Rebellion. England was in political turmoil following the death of King Charles II. His illegitimate son, James Scott, the Duke of Monmouth, launched a rebellion against the new king, James II. Monmouth raised an army of around 8,000 local supporters, many of them farmers and labourers, armed with little more than farm tools. During the rebellion, Monmouth made the George Inn his headquarters. Soldiers filled the village streets. Weapons and supplies were stacked inside of the inn, and plans for the rebellion were discussed in the upper rooms. One of the most famous legends connected to the inn describes an assassination attempt. According to local stories, Monmouth was sitting upstairs in one of the rooms possibly shaving or speaking with one of the advisors, when suddenly a shot rang out from outside. A bullet smashed through the window. It narrowly missed him and embedded itself in the wall behind. Whoever fired the shot likely knew the consequences if they had failed. The reward for Monmouth's capture or death was enormous. Yet the attempt failed, and Monmouth survived, at least for a while longer. Not long after, the rebellion reached the village itself. Royal troops loyal to King James II marched towards the area. Monmouth's forces attempted to defend the village. Barricades were built across the roads. Muskets were loaded. Rain poured as the fighting began. The battle raged in a nearby lane, now known locally as Bloody Lane, where legend says the fighting was so fierce that blood flowed down the hill. Monmouth's men eventually retreated. The rebellion would soon collapse entirely after the Battle of Sedgemoor. But the real horror was yet to come. After the rebellion had failed, King James II sent Judge George Jeffreys to punish the rebels. Jeffreys quickly earned the nickname the Hanging Judge. He travelled across the West Country holding brutal trials known as the Bloody Assizes. According to local accounts, Jeffreys used the George Inn as a temporary courtroom. Prisoners accused of supporting Monmouth were brought here. Many had little chance to defend themselves. Sentences were swift. Some were transported overseas, and others were condemned to death. Imagine the atmosphere inside the inn at the time. The same room that once hosted travelling merchants and drinking songs, now filled with terrified prisoners. Outside, villagers gathered to watch as justice, or vengeance, was delivered. After the trials, several rebels were executed nearby. Their deaths meant as a warning to anyone who might consider rebelling again. And it is here that the ghost stories truly begin. So one of the most commonly reported spirits at the inn is believed to be Judge Jeffreys himself. Guests staying overnight have reported waking suddenly in the middle of the night with the strange sensation that someone else is in the room with them. Some say they've seen a shadowy figure standing at the foot of the bed, and others claim they have felt the mattress sink beside them, as though an invisible presence had sat down. When they turn on the light, the room is completely empty. Some believe the spirit could be Jeffreys himself, a restless judge still pacing the place where he once sentenced many men to death. Now, the violence of 1685 may have left another kind of haunting behind. Visitors in the courtyard and upper rooms have reported hearing strange marching sounds late at night. Slow, rhythmic, footsteps echoing across the stone. Some witnesses claim to have seen shadowy figures wearing old military clothing and tricorn hats. They appear briefly in doorways or hallways, and then they vanish. These figures are often believed to be the ghosts of soldiers from Monmouth Rebellion, men who fought in the village and never truly left. Another apparition, sometimes reported by guests, is a man dressed in what appears to be a guard's uniform. The figure has reportedly been seen standing silently in guest rooms. Now, witnesses often describe the same strange pattern. They wake in the night, see someone standing nearby, and assume it's a member of staff. But when they sit up, the figure disappears. No footsteps, no door opening, nothing. Some staff at the inn have also reported something unusual involving animals. Dogs entering the bar area have sometimes reacted strangely, growling at empty corners, refusing to enter certain rooms, or staring strangely at something invisible. Some paranormal investigators believe animals can sometimes sense subtle environmental changes that humans cannot. Whether that's true or not, many guests have found their pets behaving oddly inside the centuries-old building. Another strange legend connected to the George Inn involves a ghostly traveller who may have never finished his journey. In the coaching era of the 1600s and 1700s, travellers arrived at the inn at all hours of the night. Stagecoaches would rattle into the village long after dark. Horses were exhausted, passengers stiff from hours of travel. Lanterns swaying in the cold night air. But according to local folklore, not every coach that arrives here belongs to the living. On a few rare occasions, villagers have reported hearing the distant sound of a horse and horse hooves and wooden wheels on the road leading into the village. The sound grows louder, hooves striking the stone, harnesses rattling, the unmistakable rumble of heavy carriages approaching. Yet when witnesses step outside to look, the road is completely empty. Some versions of the story claim a dark coach can briefly be seen passing by the inn, before disappearing into the darkness beyond the village. Others believe the sounds may belong to the spirit of a traveller who died somewhere along the road, a passenger who never reached the inn where he had planned to rest. And even now, the carriage still arrives. Visitors staying overnight at the George Inn have sometimes reported an unsettling experience near one of the building's old staircases. Late at night, when the pub has quietened and the last guests have gone to bed, the wooden staircase leading to the upper rooms becomes eerily silent. The only sound is the faint creak of old timber beams still shifting. But some guests have claimed they saw something moving on the stairs, a dark shape, just at the edge of their vision. Witnesses often describe the same strange sequence of events. They walk towards the stairs. They notice movement above them. A tall, shadowy figure appears to be standing on the landing area. At first they assume it's another guest or a member of staff, but as they look more closely, the figure seems strangely flat, more like a patch of darkness than a person. And then, without making a sound, the shape slowly fades into the wall. And some paranormal investigators who have visited the inn believe this could be what is known as a residual haunting, a moment from the past replaying itself again and again. Perhaps someone who once walked those stairs, still making the same journey centuries later. One of the rooms at the George Inn has developed a reputation among both staff and overnight guests. Not because of something seen, but because of something that is felt. Several visitors have described entering the room and immediately noticing a sudden drop in temperature. The rest of the building feels warm and comfortable, but stepping into this room feels different. The air becomes cold, unnaturally cold. Some guests have said the sensation is so strong that it feels almost like walking into a refrigerated space, even during the summer. Others have reported a strange heaviness in the air, a feeling that the room is occupied. Staff working late have occasionally refused to enter the room alone after dark, and paranormal investigators who have conducted overnight vigils in the building, claim that temperature drops are one of the most commonly reported signs during alleged hauntings. Whether the cold is caused by centuries-old stone walls or something far less explainable, it is something visitors still debate to this very day. Because the building dates back to the medieval period, rumours have circulated for centuries about hidden passages existing somewhere inside of the structure. Some believe that they may have been used by monks connected to Hinton Charterhouse Priory to secretly move goods or money. Others claim passages could have been used during the Monmouth Rebellion to hide rebel soldiers. While no confirmed tunnels have been fully documented, many visitors say the layout of the inn feels strangely labyrinth-like, and some swear they've heard footsteps coming from behind walls where no hallway is supposed to exist. So today the George Inn in Norton St Philip still operates as a traditional English pub. Visitors come for the history, the atmosphere, and perhaps a glimpse of something unexplained. The building has survived medieval trade, civil unrest, rebellion, and trials and executions. And through it all, the walls have watched silently. So if you ever find yourself staying overnight at the George Inn, and you wake in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps on the wooden floor, or the feeling that someone is standing quietly in the room with you, you might wonder, are you truly alone, or is history still lingering here, waiting to be seen? Let me know down below if you have ever visited the George Inn, or if you would dare to visit and stay overnight. Let me know down below. And before you go, we will do your oracle card reading. Let's do the Mystical Forest oracle cards again. As usual, I will draw one card for you, and you can interpret it however you like. We have simplify life. Life is meant to be simple and easy. Don't let superficial energies distract you from your true essence. Simplicity and purity will lift your spirit. Let me know down below what this could possibly mean to you. Thank you once again for joining me this evening in the Shadow Nook. Don't forget to collect your subscription on your way out, and sleep well.